Hello, philosophers. Welcome back to Buddhism Part 2. Last we left off, we had concluded the story of the Buddha with him achieving enlightenment and traveling throughout India to then spread the truths that he had found, the Four Noble Truths, and the Eightfold Path. So what are these Four Noble Truths? Let's find out. First up, we have... One second, please. There we go. Four Noble Truths. First is a real upper. Suffering is a part of life. Many of us are feeling this right now to varying degrees. But this is one thing that is fairly unique in that Buddhism does not shy away from it. You can't have a life that is all sunshine and puppy dogs. So they fully acknowledge that. We will feel sadness and suffering in our lives. However, how they interpret suffering is pretty interesting, that all suffering is caused by desire. Everything from if you are feeling tired right now, it is your desire to be more rested. If you are feeling, a big one for me, sometimes jealousy. If I am upset or angry about something, it's because I desire something somebody else has or desire to be in a different situation myself. So desiring is the cause of suffering. Well, one way to stop suffering is to stop desiring. Really easy, right? We can just stop just like that. Actually, no, not quite so. And Buddhism does go into how to recognize your own desire and work against it. One thing is realizing your own contentment in your own life. It isn't necessarily about chasing different expectations. So the way to stop suffering and to stop desire is to follow the Eightfold Path. Now, you'll notice that as we go through the Eightfold Path, it starts with some of the more basic concepts and becomes more complex as you go through. It is something that you have to continue working on, that you have to make a part of your life. It's not something you can just flip a switch and done. You don't desire and you achieve enlightenment. So let's go ahead and continue into the Eightfold Path. First up, we have number 1, right understanding. So realizing the cause of desire. If you are disquiet in your own life, if you are upset, if there is some sort of sense of suffering, why? Some of them are very clear. If we are hungry, our suffering is because, well, we desire more food. That's pretty straightforward, but others can be more complex. In my life, I've found that, to be really honest, at times in my life, there have been people that I have disliked or felt like I don't understand them as a person, and maybe they're not a very good person. And when I think about it a little bit more, it's not so much to do with that person. It has a lot more to do with me. So understanding the causes of my desire and the causes of my feelings. Maybe I'm projecting that they're not such a nice person because I am jealous of something I perceive them to have, whether that be ambition, a peaceful life, or when I was in 3rd grade, it was this one girl who had a lot more My Little Ponies than I had. So it can vary. But realizing what are you desiring and why are you desiring it? Next up, right intentions. So recognizing impure thoughts and eliminating them. Why are you, back to my example of being a little angry with some people or thinking ill of them, what thoughts am I putting out there in the world and why am I putting them out there? So really investigating them and acting with good intentions. Are you acting to help others? Are you acting to help yourself? Those don't necessarily need to act against each other, but why are you doing what you're doing? Number 3, right speech. This covers a myriad of things and things that we see examples of in our media, in our current events, in our daily lives. Everything from from lying to exaggerations, which are a form of lying. And even when we're telling the truth, we can not have the right speech if we speak harshly. Doesn't mean we need to sugarcoat everything, but we do need to think about how we say things. Number 4, right action. This covers, once again, a gamut of options. Everything from abstaining from taking a life, so not murdering another human being or sentient being, which is why a lot of Buddhists are vegetarians, to stealing, you're not acting against your neighbor, to also sexual misconduct. And this covers a variety of things. Yes, things we would consider sexual misconduct today, but also historically, it considered having a sexual relationships with somebody who was under the protection of their family, so before you were married. Continuing right along. Number 5, right work. The way you make your livelihood should not cause harm. And we can think of a lot of different options where perhaps extreme, you're not an assassin, you aren't killing somebody to make a living, but also is the way you're making money profiting off of bad labor conditions for other people? Is it profiting off of child labor? Are you selling a product that could be harmful to people, like cigarettes? Even down to, with the all sentient beings are part of our consciousness, if you are perhaps a butcher, that could be part of it. So thinking about, where does your livelihood affect the rest of the world? Right effort. It seems really simple, but actually one of the harder ones. Strive to improve. And this is tough because it can get mixed up with ambition. It isn't improving for improvement's sake. It's not for esteem needs, like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's not so one day I can win Teacher of the Year. It's striving to be better than I was the day before, not for accolades and glories, but to become fully the person I should be and am meant to be. So becoming better and better each day, cultivating yourself, essentially. Number 7, right meditation. Using meditations to focus on the nature of reality. Now, there are a lot of meditations out there. There are like vision boards, and you concentrate on the life that you want and imagining that. But this instead is trying to be focused on the now. What is around us? What is the world? What are we connected to? Really understanding the truth behind things. And finally, right contemplation. Thinking about and trying to cultivate inner peace. How are we feeling? Once again, to going back to the beginning of this presentation in the other clip, being grounded in this moment, realizing life for what it is, and being connected to the world around us. That is the Eightfold Path. And as you can see, it's pretty complex. It takes a long time to master, obviously. But one thing you want to do is strive for each of these. Now, this may seem a little ironic because if you desire to complete the Eightfold Path and achieve enlightenment, you're actually not achieving it because desire is the cause of suffering. You can't desire anything. So the Eightfold Path allows a way to live this, make this a habit, the whole idea of live something for 30 days and it becomes a part of your life, to just embed it in your life as opposed to desiring it and striving after it as a goal. Now, 2 additional concepts I'm just going to tack here on the end because they're interesting and something you should know. The idea of karma, which is Sanskrit for the word action or deed, but the idea that what you do in your life will come back to you in turn. So what you put out in the universe returns, both in this life and continuing into the next. And finally, because I love the band and the concept, nirvana. And this is similar to moksha in Hinduism. It's the release from the cycle of death and rebirth. Thank you. Please let me know if you have any questions. And stop.